Available in all states.
Navigating COVID while protecting yourself can be difficult. Fortunately, there's a hotline you can call with any questions. The Department of Indian Work St. Paul partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on vaccines, booster shots, and testing sites. Right now, booster shots are available to anyone over the age of 18 for those who are eligible. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline can also help with housing, food, medical, and educational support. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19, vaccinations, booster shots, or testing, please call 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986.
Stay healthy all year long and protect yourself, your loved ones, and your community by getting vaccinated against COVID-19. COVID-19 vaccines are safe, effective, and free, and approved for everyone over the age of 5. Wear a mask outdoors, in crowds, and indoor settings, and lay low or get tested before visiting family and friends or attending events. To get more tips, schedule your vaccine, or get tested, visit ramseycounty.us/COVID vaccine. That's ramseycounty.us/COVID vaccine.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hey, Ogimaa, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for clear skies tonight with a low of 37, Wednesday sunny with a high near 62, and Thursday partly cloudy with a high around 63. Cafe Latte is a hot spot for American eats and house-made desserts in a cafeteria-style setup plus a pizza and wine bar. Cafe Latte believes ingredients matter, so that's why they never use artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. Dine in at the restaurant off Victoria and Grand in St. Paul or place a takeout order at cafelatte.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up. They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, any cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi, to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. We got a lot going on today. We have Ogimaa back with the news, which is really exciting. We have things happening. Wendy was downtown Minneapolis with the speech about Roe versus Wade, and we're going to have an update with that. And she talked to the lieutenant governor. And also we have Rhiana Yazzie with New Native Theater, who has an exciting event coming on. But as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. So we're going to go right away with Ogimaa with the news.
Bonjour, Anin, everybody. I am Ogimaa Giniw Ikwe. My name means Strong Golden Eagle Woman, and I'm a member of the Red Lake Nation in northern Minnesota. I am back here on Native Roots Radio after taking 9 or 10 weeks off for a maternity leave. So I had a baby back in early March on International Women's Day. Baby and I are both doing great. Thank you to everybody who reached out to us and took the time to send us a gift or just give us well wishes or help with us on our nursing journey. I've just been back on Native Roots Radio a couple of times over the past few weeks as I'm kind of dipping my toes back into the water, so to speak. So as always, I'd like to bring you news here on Native Roots Radio. And as Gina Peltier, who's been covering for me for the last several weeks, has been talking about, I do want to talk about the proposed polymet sulfide mine in northern Minnesota. An extremely significant hearing is taking place this week, May 3rd through 5th, which is today through Friday. The Fond du Lac Band of Superior Chippewa has formally objected to the federal Section 404 wetlands destruction permit issued to Polymet, by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. The band has provided scientific evidence that shows that the Polymet mine would violate the band's water quality standards by increasing the levels of mercury and sulfate in the St. Louis River. This is a first of its kind hearing in terms of the Polymet cases and in terms of the tribe's right to object to a Clean Water Act permit under this section of law. The band has been resolute in demanding their sovereign rights be upheld in the Polymet matter, and like the various state permits, this federal permit was issued over the band's sustained objections. This hearing is pivotal and it is important, so make sure you are participating in this hearing and supporting the Fond du Lac Nation. The participating process for this hearing will be about the band's objection to the Polymet wetlands permit and the science supporting the objection. Again, comments will be taken on May 5th over the phone. If you would like to observe the hearing via live stream, you can watch on YouTube May 3rd and 4th, which will involve testimony from federal agencies, the band, and Polymet. You can find that on YouTube, and I will put the link in the comments for everybody. And on Friday, on May 5th, from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time, the public may comment by telephone. The lines will open 5 minutes before 4 p.m. The dial-in number is 888-251-2949. Access code is 9646123#. Written comments will also be able to be submitted by the public for 30 days after the hearing, and the written comment period ends on June 6th. Make sure to go to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers website to find out more information, or you can check out Honor the Earth or the Minnesota Center for Environmental Advocacy. Speaking of mining, the Indigenous Environmental Network's WMAN Grassroots Communities Mini Mining Grant Program offers financial assistance to nonprofit grassroots communities that are adversely affected by mining in the U.S. and Canada. Their goal is to provide at least 50% of grants to Indigenous communities. Costs covered can include legal and technical expertise, communications, mobilization, travel, gatherings, and more. The June 2022 mini grant cycle is now open, and they are accepting applications through June 1st, 2022. Grant guidelines and more information are available at wman-info.org/programs/mini-grant-program, and I will also put that in the comments for everybody. The next cycles for that mini mining grant program are going to be October 2022 and February 2023. Also happening in Minnesota is the Huber Mill, which is a toxic wood mill plant that is set up to come to north central Minnesota. On Saturday, May 14th, 2022 at 6 p.m., Honor the Earth is hosting the Huber Mill Town Hall with Annie Humphrey and David Huckfelt. They will be at the State Theater in Ely, Minnesota, again, 6 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Saturday, May 14th, 2022. The State Theater is at 238 East Sheridan Street in Ely, Minnesota. Tickets are available at honortheearth.net/events, and you can find that under the Annie Humphrey concert. The mission of this concert is to create awareness and support for Native environmental issues and to develop needed and financial needed financial and political resources for the survival of sustainable Native communities, and Honor the Earth develops these resources by using music, the arts, media, and Indigenous wisdom to ask people to recognize their dependency on the earth and be a voice for those not heard. They are going to have wonderful music from Annie Humphrey, and she will be joined by her longtime friend David Huckfeld, who is also a singer-songwriter and activist. Also, what's happening up north in Canada and Saskatchewan is terrible. As of April 19th at approximately 12:30 p.m. Central Time, Frank Young has not been seen. Frank Young was at his residence on the Red Earth Cree Nation and was possibly seen at the local playground around 3:30 p.m. Again, he has not been seen since April 19th. In Saskatchewan, the Mounties in Saskatchewan say that the missing 5-year-old boy does not appear to have been abducted, and they don't believe the case fits the criteria for an Amber Alert. Meanwhile, the Carrot River Royal County Mounted Police in northeastern Saskatchewan say Frank Young was last seen on the reserve, and they are conducting a large-scale search with police dog services, search and rescue, as well as volunteers from Prince Albert, Grand Council search and rescue from Saskatchewan, and volunteers from the local community and around the area. Frank Young is 4 feet tall, approximately 66 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. They say that he was last seen wearing Paw Patrol rubber boots, green pajamas with dinosaurs on them, and a navy blue windbreaker jacket. Police are adding that there are severe weather concerns as well, which just breaks my heart. They are conducting aerial searches as of late last Wednesday. CJWW radio reports that the Red Earth Cree Nation says it won't give up on finding their little one, and the search as of 3 days ago would have been in its 12th day, which makes today its 15th day. The Kawesas First Nation joined to pitch in with the Red Earth Cree Nation, and donations to the Red Earth Cree Nation are being accepted in order to continue to feed and provide resources to the volunteers. In lighter news, the first Monday in May seen the annual Met Gala, with model and activist Quanah Chasing Horse appearing in a stunning blue gown with details of traditional Indigenous adornments. Chasing Horse is Oglala Lakota. It was great to see her in such a large-scale place. And in slightly more unfortunate news, on Monday night, the news site Politico published an initial Supreme Court draft majority opinion written by Justice Samuel Alito and reportedly circulated inside the court, which suggests that the U.S. Supreme Court intends to strike down Roe v. Wade and the subsequent ruling Casey v. Planned Parenthood. This would essentially end federal protection for abortion rights for people who seek abortions and open the door for states to ban or restrict access to the procedure. The consequences of this decision have already sent shockwaves through the country, even though Chief Justice John Roberts confirmed the authenticity of the document, though he said that it does not represent the court's final position. Women all over the country in Washington D.C. are already taking to the streets to defend their right to choose when and where they will bear their own children. We will hear later from Wendy Pilot as she joins us live by phone from the protest in the Twin Cities, Minnesota. As always, I'm so happy to be back here on Native Roots Radio. Miigwech to everybody who's tuning in, and I will see you tomorrow.
Wow, thank you a lot. Thank you so much, Ogimaa. I have Wendy Pilot here, so we're going to talk to you a little bit before we get to Rhiana Yazzie about new Native theater.
Thank you. Sounds great. Stay with us.
We are your relatives.
We are your relations.
Brothers,
sisters,
sons,
daughters.
And some of us are your grandchildren.
We are your community. Historically, we held places of honor and respect. Because of the impact of colonization, some of us are rejected, thrown out from family, friends, and community, set up as targets for sexual violence, sex trafficked, humiliated, tortured, and murdered. Everybody has the right to be safe. We are your relatives. Remember,
homophobia is not traditional.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Minneapolis Public Schools have a variety of positions available to help you start your career in education, and they want to hire you. You can work in the classroom as a teacher or a classroom support, or you can work outside the classroom as a bus driver, in the Culinary Wellness Center, or as a custodian helping keep the building safe and sanitized. Multicultural candidates are strongly encouraged to apply. Start your career in education and apply today. jobs.minneapolis.k12.mn.us.
Hey, Ogimaa, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Life is a journey, and the Doherty Family College will help you get where you want to go. Located downtown Minneapolis, this affordable 2-year college provides free textbooks, a laptop, meals, career coaches, one-on-one mentorship, and a Metro Transit pass, making DFC the perfect pathway to a bachelor's degree. Turn your dreams into reality. Connect with a counselor today at dfc.stthomas.edu.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. This is Spirit from Reservation Dogs. Get up and listen.
Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by MN350, a grassroots organization fighting for climate justice.
Hey, before we get to our guest, Wendy, Wendy just got back, and I'm going to let her just give you a quick preview of what she's going to be talking about after we have Rhiana Yazzie on of New Native Theater. Wendy, just give us a quick update.
Well, as Ogimaa was saying, the Supreme Court Justice has a leak out saying that they are going to ban and reverse Roe versus Wade. And today, the organization called Unrestrict Minnesota, they're a wonderful coalition of members. They organized a rally today that took place at the Federal Courthouse Plaza in Minneapolis, which was at 300 South 4th Street in Minneapolis. And I was down there today, a lot of speakers, many people, a couple of hundred women were down there and men supporting, so that we can keep a legalized abortion here in the United States for women.
And then you got a quick recording that we'll play real quick. Do you want to intro it real quick?
I was able to speak to Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and she was gracious enough to give me a private interview.
So let's listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
Peggy Flanagan here. We are here today with hundreds of other Minnesotans who are here to rally together to say that we want autonomy over our bodies and believe that abortion is a fundamental right that everyone should have access to. And I think, we know that the folks who will be most impacted by our ability to access abortion, if it gets taken away, are women living in poverty, are Black, Native, women of color, individuals and Minnesotans who live in rural communities as well. So we're going to do everything that we can to ensure that all Minnesotans have access to reproductive health care, and we hope that you join us in the fight. Miigwech.
Yeah, Peggy was so gracious. I kind of grabbed her on her way out and asked her if she would do that, and she was happy to give me a few words. So I really wanted to thank her again.
Well, Wendy, thank you so much for stopping out there and running over there. And
it's important.
Yeah, so let's get going with the show, and then we're gonna talk a little bit more about it later on the show.
Perfect.
But we don't want our guest to wait any longer.
No.
We have Rhiana Yazzie of New Native Theater, and she's got some updates of what's going on. Rhiana, it's been a long time since you've been on our show, and we're now live in Chicago, Milwaukee, Madison, and Milwaukee. Madison and Milwaukee. I said Milwaukee twice, we're all over the place. But maybe you can just give a little intro of what New Native Theater is, and then talk about your event. And you are on mute. Where's my cup here? You're on mute.
Thank you. Thanks, Robert. Yeah, I'm the artistic director of a theater company called New Native Theater, and we're the most frequently producing Native American theater company in the Midwest and the Upper Midwest. We started in 2009, but I think the reason you have me on is because I actually have a film coming out.
Yes, definitely. But I just wanted our other listeners to know who you are. But definitely we have you on for the promo of the film. Let's talk about that right away.
Yeah. I am. I've produced, written, and directed my first feature film. It's called A Winter Love, and it's going to be premiering here in the Twin Cities at the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Film Festival this Saturday, and then it'll be in Rochester on the 15th. And but folks can watch it if they're not able to come to any of the in-person screenings. You can actually check it out online. It'll be available through May 19th. And then for anybody who's up in Edmonton, Canada, it will be in the Dream Speakers Indigenous Film Festival at the end of the month. So that's May 27th to June 4th. So it's very exciting to have out first film.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. How long is it? Geez, what did you shoot it on?
Well, we shot it on a Sony F7. That's what we did. Started it in 2017. Shot it over a couple of winters, but yeah, this story, it's essentially like an intertribal Native love story. I think that's one of the things that is something we don't get to see a lot of. I think especially as Native women, to see first, just to even see a Native woman star in a film. I know that it's, Tantu Cardinal only just starred in her, was the star in the first film, the first film that she'd ever starred in only came out a few years ago, and she's got this amazing career that goes all the way back, 30, 40 years, right? But I think that this, new generation of filmmakers, Native women, just like opening up opportunities and stories, and that's exactly what my film set out to do. As a Native woman, I wanted to see that like fun, romantic side of being Native. It's also, what is it like to be a Native living in the Twin Cities? With everything people know about the Twin Cities, plus the history, and then just sort of, it's just a place where you can find a person from any tribal nation across the continent here. And so it's sort of this like this romance about a struggling artist trying to get through the Minneapolis winter, falls in love with a younger Lakota guy, and then hijinks ensue.
That's awesome. So we like those, right, Wendy? Romantic comedies.
Yes, absolutely. I'm really, really looking forward to watching it.
Yeah. We have quite a few folks local to the Twin Cities who are in it. And, my theater company, there's, essentially like a lot of our ensemble members we're in the film. Also there's a cameo from Peggy Flanagan and Tom Weber. They're actually a couple of radio personalities in the film. So yeah.
And Tom was for NPR for many years before he and Peggy got together. So that's a little typecasting. That's awesome. I know my agent didn't get contacted by you, but that's okay.
Well, maybe that email ended up in your spam, Robert.
Cool. Hey, we got a couple more minutes. That's Pump That Movie again. Tell us where and when and the name.
Yeah, it is called A Winter Love, and it's making its Minnesota debut at the Minneapolis St. Paul International Film Festival, and that's going to be in Minneapolis at St. Anthony, Maine, this Saturday, the 7th at 4 p.m. Then it'll be in Rochester, I think 4 p.m. At the Grey Duck Theater. But if you're not in Minnesota or you can't make it to any of the in-person screenings, you can catch it online, and it'll be available online. You can buy a virtual ticket starting May 6th all the way through May 19th. And then if you're up in Canada, it will be premiering in Canada at the Dream Speakers Film Festival, International Indigenous Film Festival, and that runs May 27th to June 4th. So yeah, it's been a great ride, and the film, it premiered in Los Angeles at the Chinese Theater in the LA Skins Festival in November. And it's been in quite a few global Indigenous festivals. So it was in the Wairoa Maori Film Festival in last June, and it was still sort of like a preview cut of that. And then of course LA Skins Festival, it won an award for achievement in directing. So that was really huge honor, being a first time filmmaker. And then it is, and then it's going to be, and then it was also in the Pocahontas Reframed Festival in Richmond, Virginia, and then of course, and then it also was in Oaxaca, Mexico, at the Quetzalcoatl Indigenous Festival. So I'm happy that it's going to be here in Minnesota, and for anybody else who wants to catch it online this month.
Well, that's perfect, and good luck. And I'm going to try and make it out there, and everybody else make it out there. Really, thank you so much for stopping in, and maybe we'll once it's online again, we'll get you back on and promote that for our people that aren't in the cities that are able to see it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Robert. It was good seeing you at the Indian Parade Festival.
Every day is Indian Day. Right?
Every day is Indian month. Yes.
Hey, we'll be right back. Thanks, Rihanna. We'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us.
Hey, Wendy, what are we doing for dinner after the show?
How about we go to J. Selby's on 169 Victoria Street in St. Paul? They have a delicious plant-based menu that's compassionate and environmentally sustainable.
I'm getting their spot-on vegan Big Mac, the dirty secret.
You can pick up and they deliver within a 5-mile radius, or you can call them at 651-222-3263 or visit jselbys.com.
Well, you sold me, Wen. Let's go order at J. Selby's tonight.
I'm hungry.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Things may be getting better, but COVID is still around. Stay healthy and up to date on your COVID vaccinations and boosters. Right now, everyone 5 and older is eligible to get a vaccination, while everyone 12 and up is eligible for their booster shot. Plus, you're eligible for a second booster if you're over 50 or received an initial booster dose at least 4 months ago. Getting boosted increases your protection against severe disease from COVID-19. Find a vaccination site by calling 651-304-9986.
Hi, Minnesota. This is David Packman, and you can catch my show weekdays at 2 p.m. for the latest in political news on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Navigating COVID while protecting yourself can be difficult. Fortunately, there's a hotline you can call with any questions. The Department of Indian Work St. Paul partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on vaccines, booster shots, and testing sites. Right now, booster shots are available to anyone over the age of 18 for those who are eligible. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline can also help with housing, food, medical, and educational support. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19, vaccinations, booster shots, or testing, please call 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
I heard sex trafficking happens a lot in Indian country. What is that?
Here are some of the real reasons why sex trafficking happens in Indian country. Unequal gender roles that were forced on us by colonization. Communities don't have enough resources. Silence around domestic and sexual violence. Lack of attention and justice for missing and murdered Indigenous people. There's a lot of behavior that keeps our communities out of balance. These are just a few true reasons why Native communities are targeted by traffickers. When these acts of violence happen in our communities, it opens us all up for exploitation. Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for clear skies tonight with a low of 37, Wednesday sunny with a high near 62, and Thursday partly cloudy with a high around 63.
Don't waste hours figuring out how to pick up and assemble your own grill. Leave it to the specialists at Warner Stellian. Choose from the hottest new grills. Then don't pay a penny more for professional assembly, delivery, or haul-away. Shop now at warnerstellian.com.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, I just got to say it's so great to have us three back together. Things are really moving great, Ogimaa. And Wendy, what I want to do is I want to give you the floor because you were at this really important event today and you made it home in time for the show. I'm wondering if, before you talk about the event, just talk a little bit about your interaction with Peggy, and I'm going to hand it over to you. It was really kind of made me teary-eyed when you told me during the break. I was listening to the commercials, too.
Yeah, so I was at the Federal Courthouse Plaza today in Minneapolis for a rally to keep abortion safe in Minnesota. And our Lieutenant Governor, Peggy Flanagan, was there, and she gave a speech. And after her speech, I kind of ran over to her because I wanted her to say a few words, which we heard before. And I was really captivated by what she said. And that when we saw each other, we just kind of like welled up with tears and like hugged each other. And just, she just said, I've been so upset this morning. And I said to her, I feel like I'm shaking, because of what's happening and how the, women's rights are being taken away. So it was really wonderful for her and I to, just have that feeling about this. But
and then you went over there and her people were kind of blocking you away, and then
her people were blocking me away and saying, hey, what are you doing? You can't be recording here. And then Peggy said, but she's with Robert Pilot, Native Roots Radio, and they were like, oh, okay. And then they just let Peggy talk. So I felt like really proud of the fact that Peggy knows and that her people know that it's really important to get the word out, and that Peggy knows that she's, talking on a venue here that's legitimate and heard all over the place.
Yeah, definitely. And Peggy's been on many times. And when we do the fair again this year, she'll be on.
Exactly. But I just want to say a few words about this event. So yesterday, this news came out, and I was unaware of it, and that the Supreme Court has a leak out that they want to reverse Roe versus Wade. And this is a horrible thing. This is a law that's been around for the past 50 years. And 8 out of 10 Americans support the legal right to abortion we are the majority, and that's the really important thing to remember, and that everyone needs to get out there in the primaries this time around and vote in legislators, city council members, whoever is running, who cares about keeping abortion safe here in Minnesota. We need to vote them in. Overturning Roe versus Wade will not stop abortions, but you know what it will do? It'll stop safe abortions. And this is what we're fighting for. And also, this is a really unbelievable fact that I have here. Did you know that abortion rates drop with good access to health care, sex education, and contraception? These are all the things that women need to stay healthy and to just be women. I want to read a quote here from Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The decision of whether or not to bear a child is central to a woman's life, well-being, and dignity. When the government makes that decision for her, she is being treated as less than a full adult human responsible for her own choices. And I love that Ruth Bader Ginsburg quote. And you know what Peggy was talking about, how this law, if it is overturned, it will affect marginalized women. Rich white women are not going to have a problem going to get an abortion. They're going to be able to access that without any problem. If Roe is overturned, it will affect marginalized women, Native American women, African American women. The war is on those marginalized people. Somebody put up on Facebook, and it really hit me. They said, if you think masks are an infringement of your civil rights, what about banning abortion? This would make the government mandate pregnancies.
Yeah, Ogimaa wants to jump in.
Oh,
real quick.
Ogimaa, please go ahead.
Yeah, it's absolutely
I
disgusting
could go
to
on
me
and on. I am so
what's
upset.
happening. I know. I'm right there with you, Wendy. Robert told me about it this morning, and I thought when it had been leaked earlier this year in February that it was a joke, that it wasn't confirmed, and that it was just, the right trying to gain control of the situation. And then when I heard today that it had been confirmed, I think I felt like I'd been punched in the gut, like I was going to throw up. Like I had the choice to bear my two children, my two daughters, when I wanted to. And the idea that my two daughters may not have the right to make that decision for themselves makes me sick. And the other thing I wanted to point out, I'm scrolling a banner across the bottom of the screen, and this is something that Mary Kunish points out on Friday, sometimes when she's on our show, that Minnesota needs BIPOC people to run for office, especially women and those who are non-binary or people that would be affected by this change. If you are pro-choice, and especially pro-choice and identify as a woman, check out womenwinning.org for support, and they can help you start a campaign to run for office. We need women in office who are pro-choice, who are pro-health care for women, because that's really what abortion services are, is health care for women, and people need to keep that in mind.
Well, Wendy and Ogimaa, I really feel like if this card falls, the next ones will fall. Birth control, also gay marriage. All these things are on target right now, and whoever sent this out did us a big favor, because it is going to ignite us.
It will ignite us, and whether you're, I know a lot of Republican women who want the right to abortion, and this may sway their vote. All of you out there who live in Minnesota, the organization who set up the rally that I was in at today, you might just want to sign up for their updates, because there's going to be more of these things. It's called unrestrictminnesota.org, and you could just go on their website to find out what the next rally is and what's happening next and how you can help. Again, it's called unrestrictminnesota.org. And actually, they sent out a bunch of tweets and notices on Facebook today at 2:00, and they had this rally with hundreds of people there at 5:00. So they're really strong.
Yeah.
And they get a lot of good speakers there, and it was really awesome. I want to read something from Planned Parenthood here. This is from Planned Parenthood. Remember, restrictions on abortion disproportionately impact communities already harmed by systematic racism and discrimination, including Black, Indigenous, and Latino people, LGBTQ people, and those with low incomes who live in rural communities. And that was from the Planned Parenthood. And this is exactly who it's going to impact because, again, like I said before, rich white women aren't going to have a problem. I have a little clip here, Robert, if you want to play it, from Peggy Flanagan again today. This was her rally speech. I didn't catch the beginning, but it says it all.
Give me a second.
Go
keep
ahead.
talking,
I'll
and
keep
then
talking while you get that. So it's Unrestricted Minnesota. It's working to organize pro-choice people in Minnesota. So sign up for their newsletters and follow on social media. Again, unrestrictminnesota.org.
And that we will not go backwards. My instinct last night, what I wanted to do was to go and stand in the middle of the street and scream until no more sound came out of my body. Instead, I tucked my 9-year-old in and I snuggled her as she fell asleep. And I prayed that this world will not be less safe for her than it is for her mother. And so I am grateful that we opened with a prayer from Rabbi Zimmerman. And I am grateful for the other individuals that I see here in collars. Thank you for bearing witness for this moment and for lifting us up. I will tell you that it is my promise that I will do everything possible to protect body autonomy for Minnesotans. And that Governor Walz is crystal clear on what his role is: to protect access to abortion for all Minnesotans. I talked to my mom last night, who said, "We have fought this fight before, and you will continue to fight it. And remember that you have all of your aunties and your ancestors who are standing behind you, who are with all of us in this moment. They have loved us and supported us in this moment. We are here. We will continue to be here to fight for what we know, as Rabbi Zimmerman said, is a fundamental constitutional right." And I know that Minnesota is going to be a good neighbor. As many of you read that article about our dear Dr. Sarah Traxler, who every month for 1 week goes to South Dakota so that South Dakotans can have access to abortion and can have access to health care. We know that we need to make sure that this is a place and space where people can access the health care they need from neighboring states. And I take that incredibly seriously. So I'm not going to take a whole bunch more time, but I just wanted to say I see you, I hear you, I stand with you. I am so grateful for all of you, because last night I didn't have a whole lot of hope. And it's okay to be scared. I'm scared too. You know what? We have each other. And we are going to fight like hell to protect our right to abortion. Thank you so much.
Stay with us.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Navigating COVID while protecting yourself can be difficult. Fortunately, there's a hotline you can call with any questions. The Department of Indian Work St. Paul partnered with the Minnesota Department of Health to open the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline. They provide information on vaccines, booster shots, and testing sites. Right now, booster shots are available to anyone over the age of 18 for those who are eligible. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline can also help with housing, food, medical, and educational support. If you or someone you know has questions about COVID-19, vaccinations, booster shots, or testing, please call 651-304-9986. Again, the number is 651-304-9986. The Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline is open for calls Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call the Twin Cities American Indian COVID-19 hotline at 651-304-9986.
Hey, Ogimaa, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
This is Winona LaDuke of Honor the Earth, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm Awake.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations. Oh. Well, I am howling today, I have to tell you, Robert. I've been howling all day. And I'm glad, we're able to take this time and talk about this really serious subject here. And Ogimaa, did you want to chime in or just let us know whenever
how you're feeling?
How you're feeling about this whole thing?
I was tearing up back here listening to Peggy Flanagan for the same reasons. I heard this today, and my daughter will be 9 next month. So I have a daughter the same age as Peggy Flanagan who'll be starting, to menstruate, and we'll be having those conversations about taking care of your body and what bodily health looks like as a woman, and having those conversations, around safe and healthy sexual relations with people as well. And part of that conversation as a woman is abortion and what that means. And it terrifies me to have to speak to my daughter and explain to her that that's not an option if this goes through, that isn't guaranteed to all women in this country. I read an article today from a doctor who was new to primary care practice, and he talked about how being told in his residency in the ER, don't be the jerk that doesn't order a pregnancy test. And he was seeing an 11-year-old girl who was in for a stomach ache, and he ran the pregnancy test and it came back positive. And he understood immediately, despite his misgivings and, kind of being on the fence about the pro-choice movement, he understood immediately why it's important to be pro-choice, because if Roe v. Wade is overturned and that girl happens to live in a state where there's not access to safe abortion, it was an 11-year-old girl being forced to go through the trauma of labor over something that happened to her that was not her fault. She was abused by a family member. And
right.
these are the kinds of conversations that the courts and those who are pro-life, vehemently pro-life, do not want to discuss. They want to act like those things don't happen. They want to act like being pro-life isn't forcing birth, isn't forcing pregnancy, like Wendy said. But that's exactly what it is. It's forcing
Yeah,
women to be pregnant when they would not otherwise choose to be, or when it's dangerous for them.
Wendy and Ogimaa, I know, to me, when I heard this, and I've heard all the talk today, and it's what's really echoed with me is if you can't get an abortion if you've been raped. So in other words, the rapist has more rights than a woman.
Exactly. Yeah. At the rally too today, it was really unbelievable. This woman got up and she spoke her truth and how she was pregnant, and her husband went into the ultrasound room, and that the doctor came in, and she said, you know, the doctor is usually like so happy and peppy and cheerful, came in very somber to the room and just said to her that I'm really sorry to let you know, but your son, your baby unborn son, has a disformity that is so horrible that it's not fit for life. Now, she had the choice to go through the pregnancy knowing that this baby was going to die moments after she gave birth. Kind of horrifically, but she decided, you know, to have an abortion, but she would not have had that right if this Roe v. Wade is overturned. So you know, I was like tearing up just listening to this poor woman talk about her own, you know, pregnancy, and how, you know, her and her husband were so excited because they were having a little boy, and, you know, they had all these hopes and dreams for him, and it was just crushed, and that she didn't want to have to go through months and months of this pregnancy knowing that this child was being developed in her womb who wasn't fit for life. I mean, that is just not fair
to nobody.
It's just not fair. It's not
fair to the woman or the child.
It's not there. Somebody put this up on Facebook. It's not from me. You know, they just said, I'm not pro murdering babies, but I'm pro Becky, who found out at her 20-week anatomy scan that the infant she had been so excited about to bring into this world had developed without life-sustaining organs.
Oh, wow.
I'm pro Susan, who was sexually assaulted on her way home from work, only to come to this horrific realization that her assailant planted his seed and in her when she got a positive pregnancy test resulting a month later. I'm pro Teresa, who hemorrhaged to the placenta. You know, I mean, there's like all these women who you could just go, I'm pro little, you know, Kathy, I'm pro Melissa, I'm pro Brittany, I'm pro Emily, I'm pro Jessica, I'm pro Vanessa. All these women who had problems, who couldn't, you know, have their baby, who were raped, who were sexually molested by a family member, like the little girl that Ogimaa was talking about. It's just too much.
You know, let's take a step back too for a second here. Now, let me just make two comments here, and then I'll turn it back over to Wendy and Ogimaa. Is that this is the Christian right pushing this, and they complain, meaning the Republicans complain about less government, less control, and here we are with the Republican Party
wanting to mandate pregnancy.
Who put two people in? Trump put two people in that said that they would not reverse Roe versus Wade, and here we are at that point where they are going to.
They both lied,
right? And under oath, Wendy, under oath. And the other thing is, the First Amendment separates church and state. And we are getting really melted into that. So I just wanted to make that point too, that that's not going beyond us, that this is happening to this country.
I know. Well, we all have to be shaken up over this, and we need to stand up for this. And like I said earlier, just the primaries, we have lots of people who are going to be running for office. We have to pick the people who we need in the office, who are not going to let this happen, and that's who we need to vote for.
Exactly. So I want to, before we end, I want to thank Rhiana Yazzie for stopping on with New Native Theater too. I want to really, really thank Ogimaa for being back. And I want to really, 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 really thank the #1 reporter of Native Roots Radio, Wendy, for going out there and going out there and doing it.
It was my pleasure to do it, and going out there and to being involved and seeing other people and being around other women and people who stand with you and feel the same with you and have the same mindset, and being around, it gives you hope. It gives you a good feeling of that we can do this. We're not alone. And if we all stand together, we could make it happen.
And that's kind of what Peggy said too in her speech, is that she was crushed, and I have a problem, right?
Yep.
So
absolutely.
I want to just end it with that. I really, again, appreciate both you, appreciate what you do and getting the word out, because Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
Free Leonard Peltier.
But first, I would like to end with these thoughts, Wendy. If you're listening to the show, you are part of the resistance. From Chief Plentycoops, the ground on which we stand on is sacred ground. It is the blood of our ancestors. We need to resist, divest, join a group, run for office. You've been listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. We're still here. We are the 7th generation.
Check out the award-winning Hazel's Northeast in Minneapolis on the corner of 29th